Hey everyone, I'm Chef Dennis, and welcome to Good Day Google Plus. And as I like to say, it's always a good day on Google Plus when you get to spend it talking to your friends. And it's a beautiful sunny day in Florida. We do have a little bit of cool weather here. It was maybe 50 this morning, and it's going up to around 65, 70 today. So we're enjoying it. I'll take it any time over what's happening in the Northeast from where we moved from. And they're having a lot of cold weather up there. So it's a good day in Florida. And I want to say hi to my guest today. And I've got Brett Hamilton here, and he is in Oregon or Washington?
I'm in Washington.
Washington.
Outside of Seattle.
Okay. So I'm sure it's a lovely day there, too, on the left coast.
Oh, yes, it is. We have sun, actually, which is great for this time of year. Yeah, the sun just came out, and I'm like, okay, take the blinds down. Take the blinds down.
That's pretty cool. And you'll notice that Brett is bouncing up and down a little, and that's because he's on
I have a fitness ball.
A fitness ball.
I sit on one of those, too. I'm not sitting on it now, but I have a fitness ball chair, too. They're great, aren't they?
Oh, it's awesome. And my whole design room has a youthful feel to it. So we have some bean bags and papasan and then the fitness ball.
Pretty cool. You have a lava lamp?
You can slide to the side, you know.
Yeah.
Keep the kids from stealing it.
Yeah, right.
Very cool. And then we have Blythe and Metz, and you are in California as well, or?
I am. I'm in Los Angeles, and It is a gorgeous sunny day out there. It's cool. It's a little cooler than it has been, but it's a gorgeous day.
I know. I was talking to Mia Voss. We did a food and booze yesterday, and she was in Las Vegas, and they were saying, it was 45 in the morning there, and kind of like, so I guess it's just a little bit of a cool spell that the country's getting.
Yeah, yeah.
But always a good day. All right, so we're going to talk a little. I want to say hi to all of our people that are in the audience watching, and I have Michael Thomas is here from Indy. How you doing, Michael? Good to see you. David Pipe is in the house from Sussex, England. And then we have Rhonda Abrams. Candy Sakai is here from Tokyo. She's with us, and a bunch of other people we'll say hi to a little bit later. But I want to get started, and like I said, if you have comments or questions, just leave them in the comment section under it, and we will get to them. But right now, we're just going to turn it over, and I'm going to start with ladies first. And Blythe, let's get to know you a little and tell us what you do on and off the plus, what your passions are.
Sure. Well, lately my passions have really been educating people about how to eat optimally, how to eat for real health, vitality, longevity. So I have a show called Blythe Natural Living. You can find it on YouTube. I do quick and easy 5-minute plant-based recipes and natural beauty treatments, and then I always have very interesting guests in the health and wellness space or in the environmental space. My first show, Blythe Raw Live, was on Hulu. We were the first online show to get licensed by Hulu, so that was pretty cool. That was a 1-hour live Ustream show that was pretty successful globally, so that was fun. So, I love to share the wealth. I think that achieving, optimal health is so doable and so enjoyable, and eating healthy can be really easy, inexpensive, and tasty. And so I want to debunk the myth that, eating super healthy takes too long or is too expensive or too complicated or just not that good, Yeah. So that's one of my passions. I'm also in the film and the film world. I just produced an indie film called Bella, which I'm very excited about. I was an actress. I don't seem to be acting very much anymore because I'm just really been more called to just inspire good health in people. I'm from Middle America, and where it's covered in snow. I don't know if it's covered in snow now, but it's definitely very cold. And you just see people's health decline, and people that think they're eating healthfully, but they're actually not, because foods that are marketed for weight loss and health are just actually full of chemicals and junk. So yeah, I've just been really inspired to help, remind people that the food really does come from the ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a big wake-up moment for me at ShiftCon when I hadn't gone there to drink the Kool-Aid. I went there to talk about Google Plus, and I love Leo, and we talk, and I go, yeah, natural food, yeah, I got to eat better. And then I went there, and it was like an awakening for me, and I was like, oh my God, really? Yeah. So I jumped on the bandwagon pretty good, and I'm still working it into it. And I think the biggest thing for me was that people were saying, do what you can.
Yeah.
Do it all at once, and that's always been the big stumbling block, and everyone was accepting. It's like, do what you can.
Yeah, I find it's like whatever someone's maybe a few dietary bad habits are, if they like to eat ice cream at night or if they like to snack on potato chips, there's healthy alternatives to those that are super good. I mean, now there's like pea chips that you can get that are made out of just like pea protein and sea salt that are super tasty. You can get chips that are made out of black beans and quinoa and rice. So it's just substituted out. If you really like ice cream, there's amazing ice creams made from hemp, made from coconut, and then you're actually getting a dessert that's protein and omegas and nutritious. There's ice cream made from almonds. So it's just like, you can just switch stuff out and you can see a difference. And what's really exciting is you can really see a difference in yourself when you start really getting more vital nutrients in. You're like, wow, my body actually needed these vital nutrients, and now there's a result from that. I have more energy, happier, skin is brighter. So it's nice when you have that kind of feedback so quick.
Oh, yeah, I know. And, I didn't think there was no way in hell I would ever be gluten-free. Right? It wasn't going to happen. Forget it. And my wife even mentioned, I'm going, yeah, okay, forget about it. And then it just something clicked. I was ready. And I think that's an important part of it. It says you have to be ready personally for that. It has to be something that you're not going to fight internally. And for whatever reason, that switch went on. I tried it. I was lucky. I found some products right away that fit into my eating style.
Yes.
So I didn't feel as bad about it.
Right. You can still, order a pizza now and again. Find your place. We have a great place on Melrose called Lucifer's that has a gluten-free crust. That's great. It's like you can still, find those yummy things that we love, the gluten stuff for. You can find them gluten-free. Yeah, and you're a chef too, so it'll be fun for you to experiment. Do you do any baking at all, or?
I just started. I made my first gluten-free cookie the other day. I made some ricotta cookies, and they were too flat. And then I realized I left out. I didn't put in any gum any guar gum or xanthan gum, and I think that's probably what happened. And I may have needed a little bit more flour to make.
What flour did you use?
I started with King Arthur's all-purpose until, I have a variety of flours in-house now because I took a seminar with a baking person, and I have some Teflon for chocolate. I have, I can't remember the other one.
Quinoa flour.
Yeah, sorghum, I think I have quinoa. I do have sorghum because I used that just recently for something else. For a crisp. She said to use that for a crisp topping.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, quinoa flour is a really, really great one. Coconut flour, you have to blend them because coconut's it'll be too crunchy. And millet flour is really nice, but millet flour is a bit more savory, so you have to make sure you add enough sweet. But I don't like brown rice flour for any gluten-free because it's too chewy.
That's the same thing she says. She uses no rice flours for her baking. Yeah. The only thing she said you use them for is gravies because they make a real nice gravy. But
nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to start. Actually, the one thing going gluten-free that was a side effect for me was I actually have no cravings for sweet anymore.
That's wonderful.
I used to crave like cake and pies, and I'd buy them at the checkout. I'd buy these little things to snack on. I'd have them in the car. Now I have Lara bars in the car for when I need something. My wife ate one and went, "Oh my God, what is this?" I said, "Oh, they're good. They're good."
They are good. Yeah. They're just fruits and nuts. Yeah. They are good.
Awesome. So anyway,
and that's so much better for you because those baked things are full of junky oils. That's what's a bummer. It's like, it's not really the flour that's bad or the butter or the sugar, but in the pre-made stuff, it's all those junky oils.
Yeah. So, it's been subtle changes, but I just don't, I look at cake and where I would like almost start salivating, I look at it and go, I don't want that. my wife went away, and ice cream was always a biggie for me. And I would have bought two containers and eaten them while she was gone. And she was gone. And I went, oh, I'm going to get ice cream. I went, I really don't want ice cream.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's that, and the fact that my some of my joints, the inflammations went down. Those were the two biggest surprises for me in terms of going gluten-free.
And how soon did you see those results?
I saw the pain in my back subsided within about 2 weeks.
Nice.
And then I don't know when I stopped craving them, but it was pretty soon. The first thing I noticed was the fog being lifted off of me.
Nice.
Like in about a week, I could think clearer from not having all that gluten. And I don't think I have celiac. I just did it to try and improve my skin, which it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But I'm on it. I'm fine. I'm happy, so I'm staying on it.
Yeah, your skin looks great. Your skin looks great. It's nice that the trigger was taken away, that you wanted sugar. That's brilliant.
So, so that's been a good thing for me, so I'm happy about that. So, and we have some comments here. Robin Holland is talking about how she went gluten-free a few years ago. Read an article in the New Yorker in November looking for research about gluten. Pretty interesting. And she goes on to say there's a Dutch flour maker in California who claims gluten-intolerant folks can eat his flour. Some say it's not gluten, it's the use of the Roundup on the fully grown wheat fields that's messing with our guts. I'm curious about that. And now, Robin, one thing I did hear was there's a flour called Airhorn flour wheat, which is the original wheat flour that we were pretty much all eating. It's only got 12 molecules or particles or whatever it is that make it up. Now the modern flour has 32.
Wow.
So we have adapted it and changed it, and I think we have taken it to a point where a lot of people are intolerant because it's such a complex grain now, where it really wasn't. So people are saying that Airhorn flour, if you are well, I think if you have celiac, there's nothing you can eat. But if you have an intolerance, that flour might be acceptable.
Airhorn, nice. That's a very good recommendation.
I don't know if we got that it was in our bag from. I had some of it from Shift Con or from another one I attended. I gave it away to the food bank with all my other gluten stuff when I packed them all up, though. So.
Right. What's interesting, too, is, a lot of times we're eating things, gluten, a roll, a croissant, sandwich, bread, because we need to fill up. We feel like, we need to eat something substantial, so we eat something with bread. But bread actually only fills us up so temporarily because there's really not enough fat or protein in it to really give us something. It's basically just like sugar, carbohydrates. So when we take that out, we start looking for other things to eat. It's taking the gluten out, which is really helpful, but it's also we're eating more fats and proteins, which we need, more good fats and proteins instead of just like the sugary carbohydrates. So that makes a big difference in people too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to talking about that. Let me jump over to Brett now. And Brett, let's talk about what you do, because you make furniture and Art Deco objects, and they're really cool. We got to talk about them a while ago, and I loved them.
Well, thank you. Yes, I'm an artist, and my creations pretty much start with furniture. Nice. And then I build out from those into all kinds of things, pot and plate setups for bonsai trees, water features.
What is that? What's a plate setup for a bonsai tree?
Like this right here.
Cool.
So we have the bonsai tree pots, and they're all built out of concrete. And
you made that?
Yes.
Nice.
So these are the plate setups, and then little reservoirs. So we have those, and then I do water features also, which let's see, we'll slide to the side, and don't know how well that shows up.
That's beautiful.
But, yeah, so I do, and it's all built out of concrete, steel reinforced concrete, and then I finish them in different exotic stone finishes, and then I call it wrapping in glass when I basically cover them in a epoxy coating that's a form of fiberglass without the fiber, so it gives it that they look like they're wrapped in glass. Like these are different plates that I make.
How
also.
do you do the concrete? You have molds? Do you pour a mold?
I do it by hand. I call it inside out construction. So instead of having a mold on the outside, I have something I can press against on the inside. Because stucco or any concrete mixes, you have to press against something. So I'll have like a plug on the inside, and I just do everything by hand on the outside. So
Just
all the
build it, kind of, you're saying?
yes,
And then
yes,
add to. Wow.
yeah. So I'll here I'll screen share,
Okay.
and right there. I don't know. Did that come up?
That's
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty.
Yeah, so in there you can see the water feature in the back, and then all my center supports for my tables are vases because I have a love for vases. So anyway, those vases are all they're a steel inner structure, and then I use cement on the outside for a cement coat, about 3/4 of an inch of cement at the most, and then I do exotic stone finishes on them, which is kind of like it's almost like mixing a fine cement with paint, and then I put it on with different trowels and sand between the coats, and then I stain it, and then once you wrap it in glass, it just becomes three-dimensional and look. So you're almost like looking inside the stone. It's really
How are you
cool.
get it so smooth?
Um, Basically, I use a self-leveling epoxy, and then I just daydreaming around. I constantly experimenting. I'm like a crazy experimenter wherever I'm at, in the kitchen or out in my shop. And I just kind of got the idea like, hey, I can wrap round things with this. So anyway, just did some experiments, built some machinery, and I just pour it on and then let the machines basically rotate everything until it levels out the way I want it. And I have all kinds of gadgets that I build. So out in the
Wow.
shop, I tell everybody a couple people that I learned a lot from were Inspector Gadget and Edward Scissorhands. And so I have all these gadgets I make, and that helps me do all the work I need to do.
Does
That's
it come out smooth by itself, or do you have to polish it?
Um, Originally, when I first did my first pieces and I used an epoxy, it was a disaster zone. And basically anything epoxy touches, you basically throw it away, when you're done. It sticks to everything. So I would have thrown myself away.
Hmm.
I had it all over me. I had epoxy on my arms, I had epoxy all over the floor, and I had to sand those down and sand and then do a lot of polishing, and I got them really smooth. And I think, from that point, I started going, okay, I got to figure this out. And then I figured out how to do it without any sanding. I do polish. I do finish them up, and I put a really good marine grade wax on them. Basically, same thing you put on yachts, because a lot of this fiberglass is the same thing yachts are made out of.
Hmm.
Fiberglass. So I use a really good wax on them, and that helps protect them against any kind of scratching or so forth. And so let's see here. Um,
Are they heavy? They look heavy.
yes,
They're very heavy.
even though I use lightweight um, concrete mixes, oops, I screwed that up. They are heavy. Vase weighs about 125 pounds. And then a tabletop, I think there should be a tabletop up there,
Yeah, there's.
right there.
Yep.
Mhm.
That tabletop weighs about 80 pounds.
Wow.
So, and that's using kind of I call it mixing cornbread when I make up my different mixes of concrete. And so it's a semi-lightweight concrete. I can only go so light till I take away strength, and I don't
Right.
want to do that. So, and another view of that would be, I did one to where you can see the reflections off of it. So one, I took a picture to where you could see through and see the actual texture underneath, and then this shows the reflection from when you're wrapping in glass.
Wow.
And then another thing, since I watched some of your last show, and the lady had Himalayan rock salt.
Yes.
So I do these with Himalayan rock salt lamps.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
So that's rock salt, and then I do all the steel artwork around it.
Beautiful.
And then that plate is also the same plate that goes underneath the pots. So they're kind of interchangeable.
That is fantastic. How do you protect yourself when you're using all that epoxy? Do you wear something?
I've got it to where I just wear what are those nitrate gloves? You know, like rubber gloves. They're the tight
Okay.
fitting ones you see in the hospital industry.
Nice.
And there,
And you
come
have
on.
it in a separate building, like not in your house? Do you have like your a different
Oh,
stores and
I
so in your
have a yes. It's out in the shop, and
yeah.
basically my shop is a two-car garage.
Nice.
Well, I call it a flip and flop shop because I have, or building in a closet, because I only have so much space, so I have to flip and flop my shop in between different processes. So the
Right.
touchiest one is the epoxy work because it has
Yeah.
to be so clean. So I'll
Yeah.
spend about 2, 3 days just completely cleaning the shop, and then everything shuts down, and all I do is epoxy work for about a week and a half.
Wow.
And then I, added heat on out in my shop this year. So I have electrical heat, and then I have propane heat, so I can keep my temperatures where I want to be. And so, yeah, that's some of what I do there.
Do you
That's
take
just
custom orders and also do you
Yes.
like rest for restaurants or sell do you sell to shops and then shops sell your work or is it
Um, I've sold all my work on my own
oh,
so far, and I do custom work. And I love to do just my own work. What inspires me, and I usually come up with a nice fictional story to go with it. So I write a story out, like a little short story like the genie tables, and kind of bring them to life through that. So,
cool.
and a lot of people love buying something that an artist made
Yeah.
and get that story of what the artist made. And then I've had people that had really cool like throw rug in their living room, kind of had some really crazy rounded shapes to it, and they wanted something that matched their carpet with a tabletop shape. So I did kind of a splitting cell shape, and once it's set up on their carpet, it was just so cool because everything kind of exploded, and all their earthy colors in their living room exploded, and it was really, really cool. So, yeah, I'll do whatever people come up with,
Nice.
or they bring me in and have me come up with something. So,
Nice.
the one thing I am getting ready to do is I'm putting together my whole submittals for the Bellevue Art Gallery. It's a really high-end area up here, and they have a 3-day show in the summer where they shut the whole downtown area down, and it's a juried art show. So have to have my submittals in, and then they jury to see who they're going to have in there. So that will be my first presentation to an art gallery.
Nice.
So
When do you find out?
submittals have to be in by the 18th of January.
Cool. Good
So
luck.
yeah, thank you. I've been spending every morning really working on my writings, um, because that's real important with art, is to get people to um, connect, basically connect with the work, and writing and artwork go hand in hand. So, and
Nice.
yeah, so that's my first one of where I have my submittals for that, and I figure once I have my submittals for that, I have submittals for any place I want to
Sure.
submit to. So, a lot of different galleries across the country I want to submit to and see where it goes.
Yeah.
So, I think it'll fit very well in art galleries because they don't have this,
Yeah.
and it could sit right in the middle of all sorts of different displays and see what happens.
Yeah.
So,
Check out Sedona, right? There's a lot of art galleries
uh,
in Sedona, Arizona, and your work seems to like fit their style.
yes, with all the ancients, and I have a big flair of ancients in my work. And I used to live in Lake Havasu, Arizona.
Mm.
So we've gone to Sedona a few times, and big art, real heavy with art. Seems like every corner. It's art.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
art and
see,
crystals. I saw your big selenite piece. That was cool.
yeah, you like the selenite, the Tower of Power.
Yeah, I like that.
So
Nice.
yeah, and that one lights up also. But really cool thing with selenite, we took the light bulb out of it because it just shines. We'll
Yeah,
have it
especially
in
the
the
sun.
living room. Yeah, in the living room, and there's no sun or anything, and it's just sitting there lit up. So we took the bulb out of it and said, we'll just let it naturally light up. That's pretty cool. So, and
Did
then
you
there's
make the
all sorts
base
of
that
rock.
did you make the
Yes,
base that it was sitting on? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I
Okay.
do all the bases, and we have a few really cool shops that we can go to and get all our crystals and our rocks, and then we have our own rock polisher. So we go to
Cool.
the green wherever we go hiking. We'll collect rocks from different rivers and polish them up and use those for the displays. No, no, that one's not
Ah,
set
that's
up.
cool.
Yeah, so and one thing that'd be cool, and I'll get into is because everything's I designed everything so the bonsai pots would fit in the tables, or they'll fit on the water features, or they'll fit on the pots and plates, and then the plates you can fit all the crystals. So now once I built out and I got some ideas from that, I can take the crystals back to the centerpieces of the tables, and you can use different battery operated lights.
Right.
Have a crystal as the centerpiece of the table, not just a bonsai tree. So that's
Nice.
kind of what I like about when I get ideas for table sets and then I build out from those, and those create ideas that I end up bringing back to the tables. So it's kind of I think that's one of the coolest parts I like is all the fresh ideas that come up out of nowhere.
Totally the creative process.
Yeah,
Download it.
yeah. It's like, okay, I took this in and look what came out.
Totally. What's the deal with the bonsai trees? Do you do bonsai or how do you work with bonsai so intimately? Do you know someone that does
Yes.
it? Yeah. Oh, you
Um,
do it too? Wow.
right here.
Oh my
There.
gosh.
Okay. So I only have so much space. So every single window in our house is lined up with trees.
I see some
And
back behind you.
yes, in the that's my little greenhouse, I call it, my indoor greenhouse.
Wow.
And basically I have shelves and shelves back there of baby bonsai trees. And it
And you
all
trim
started
them daily or weekly? Like how much
um
maintenance do they need?
I know that there's some that require more maintenance, like when we saw the Karate Kid and all that, and they had to constantly trimming. Most of the trees I have don't. I have a lot of ficus, and then I have a lot of different Mexican weeping pines, Japanese red pines, um, Japanese white pines, and then ginkgos, and they don't require a ton of trimming.
Hmm.
Um, they kind of just grow, and once you get them to where they're at and trained, they kind of stay there, and you just have to clip them off at certain times. I have read about that you can go through, and once the leaves get big, you can trim all the leaves off, and they'll grow back really small.
Hmm.
I'm just a little nervous about that, you know.
Understandably.
I'm like, man, it's like cutting all your hair off and expecting it
Right.
to grow back. You know it should, but what if it doesn't?
Or what if it all doesn't grow back and
Yeah,
all just
what if it grows back in spots?
Right.
That's one of those
I'm
things
so
that takes the
fascinated.
jump.
Go ahead. What?
That's one of those things that just takes the jump and doing it, and
Right.
and
Right.
experimenting. So it all started with one bonsai tree I got from my daughter years ago, 8 years ago,
Nice.
and so then I started taking care of it, and then once I started this, and I always wanted a bonsai tree for a centerpiece of a table, and so I started pulling clones off of it, and those clones turned into clones, and I learned how to just twist them around and kind of braid trunks together and just let them grow. So, it's just kind of been a learning curve. And eventually my goal is to be able to sell all my own bonsai trees with the table sets.
Nice.
So, and so I've started some from seed. Starting them from seed takes a long time. So I was kind of
I'm
like,
sure.
if I start them all from seed, I might be like 55, 65 before I can sell one. Might be a little late there. So you almost need to get a tree and then pull cuttings off of that tree and start them, and they grow within 4 years. You can have a very mature tree. So
it's mind blowing. We have a place out in California called the Huntington Gardens, and there's an extraordinary bonsai tree display. And I mean, it blows your mind, these trees, because there's like, the Hawaiian banya tree, where I might be saying it wrong, banyan tree or something, where there's like all these branches that grow down. I mean, to see like a miniature one blows your mind, like fully developed, but like tiny. You're like, what? And like maple trees, oak trees, all these, weeping willows, all these trees that are like fully in full development, but mini. It's mind-blowing.
It is. I only thought there were a couple varieties of trees a long time ago, and then I started looking into them, and you're seeing all these flowering trees and dwarf pomegranates, and some of them you were talking about. I was like, this is crazy. So I learned basically you can dwarf any tree you want. You just keep the root small and shallow, and they'll stay that size.
But how do you cut the root if it's under the soil?
You just pull it out, and you trim them all back, and put it in the ground into a small container, and they'll stay that way. And they just keep regrowing. And it's kind of wild. I kind of stumbled on it working on the yard, and I'd cut a shrub down, like, okay, I don't want this shrub anymore. I cut it down, and the next thing you know, it's growing back. I'm like, wow. So that's what they do with the bonsais. Same thing.
Right.
So with the bonsais, though, you have to get the roots, and that's what keeps the tree small then?
Yes. You contain the roots, you contain the growth. So pretty, and all you have to do is have them shallow, so they're like 3 inches deep, and bigger ones can spread out a little further, and you have larger plates. Mine are just small 6-inch diameter and about 3 inches deep. So, and they'll grow up to a certain height and just kind of stay there. It's pretty wild.
The art of it is so amazing. That it takes so much time, that someone's committed to this piece of work for years and years and years.
Yeah, that's the thing, is some of them that I've seen, they do take a lot of time, and I've learned that. I was, sitting there and getting them going, and then when I had 3, it was a certain amount of work. Then I had 20. I'm like, oh my God, this is way past a hobby now.
Right. It's just like a job. Right.
It's a job.
It's an investment.
Really, it is. And I just think it's cool. It's a whole other form of art.
Yeah, that's really
And
cool.
It's alive. I like to bring life into all my pieces, not just the life I put into it when I dreamed it up, but then some real life, crystals and flowing water and, a bonsai tree, and give it some good positive energy. So that's another little centerpiece. All the centerpieces in my work have that. So
what's your website? Is it Brett Hamilton, or do you have a different
No, it's
name?
Hammies, HAMMYS.net.
Hammies.net. Cool.
Yep. And so my website, it's my first 3 pieces that I made are on my website still to this day. And so I went through and got a nice amateur photography camera, and so I've been learning all my photography, and I have tons and tons of pieces, and so I'm building up my collection of all my pieces and doing all the writings for them. And I just upgraded a couple writings the other day on the website, and so here in another week probably, I'm going to start redoing my whole website, putting those photos on. So my website's kind of going along with my submittals to the art gallery.
Nice.
And go with that.
How do you reach people? If it's not, like, how do people find you to order from you, or how do you find your clients?
So far, it's all been through word of mouth, and I have if you go to the website and you see the table, it's a bar table on the front, homepage, that's actually in the back of my truck. And it's mounted on a nice deck that I built in the back of the truck. So it goes everywhere with me. And I've taken it around and shown it. And then through a friend who bought a table from me, some of their friends saw it and wanted some work into their home. And then actually the owner of a interior design company, I sent them my site, and she saw it and wanted some in her home.
Perfect.
And just word of mouth. And that was then at the end, it was the beginning of this last year when I stumbled upon some things like the wrapping in glass and being able to take all these tables can be put into somebody's spa now. So it's all submersible. The chairs are submersible, the vases are submersible, everything you can put underwater. And so I kind of took some time and put sales to the side to really put my work over the top. And that took a large portion of this year, about 6 months I put into really perfecting my work and taking it over the top. And once I did that, I completed the tables behind me and some that you've seen, and now I have tables all over the house now. So now it's time to get out and market my work and redo my site and submit to the art galleries. So that's kind of, and I just started early last year, and I got some good sales at the end of last year into the beginning of this year, and then just decided, hey, I'm going for this, and I want to go for the top. And
awesome.
So that's what I've done. So now I was on Amon John's show, so he gave me a lot of great ideas about, getting out there on social media. And
that's kind of how we got connected. You were doing cutting boards, weren't you?
Well, that was Amon's idea, was to maybe do a couple products and give it to people, so that were on shows, so your work could be on display and a lot of people would see it. So he brought up cutting boards, and then he brought up you, and then you and I got together and started talking about that. So yeah, there's a combination of social media, my website, and then basically all my art shows that I want to be in and art galleries. So, and from those same submittals, God, there's just a world out there of interior designers, architects, spas, corporate art.
Corporate art, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's auctions.
Yeah.
Some of the high-end art auctions. So I think there's just just start going.
Yeah, hotels. I see your stuff, like hotel lobbies.
Yeah, a lot of people have said lobbies. There's a lot of lobbies out there where people are putting artwork in them now. So,
especially when it's all custom made, because you're not going to see two pieces exactly the same from you, because you don't have molds. I know that you had said that was one of the things about it, was you don't want to get bored making the same thing over and over again.
Yes, exactly. I'll do like two of the same vase, just almost kind of to show off that I can make one the same, and be like, look, I can do this exactly the same by hand. But then I don't want to do the same one again. I want to move on to that other design I have. And we're originally starting out, I figured I'd have one design, and I wanted to get it exactly how I wanted, and I was going to produce a whole bunch of those. Well, I learned real quick that after the second one, I'm like, nope, onto a new design.
Bored already.
I'm bored. Yeah, I don't want to do that twice. I remember the first time I did two tabletops the same, and I was like, why did I just do that? That wasn't any fun. So, yeah, one thing I do the same of is a lot of the pots and a lot of the plates, because they have to be the same to fit into all the other pieces. So those I do the same, and they have, form follows function. So that's their function requires them to be the same, but there's no possible way you can ever get all the same stone finishes from painting. So everyone still is unique.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah. There we
Yeah,
go.
beautiful.
Well, you know, it's been quite interesting because everything we're talking about is more along the natural line too. And you had told me, weren't you basing things on different Indian tribes as well? Wasn't it?
Oh
Uh,
yes. You know, every piece is basically I get my inspirations from being out in nature when I'm out on my hikes or somewhere and I'm looking at a certain river. And so I take that and all those colors and the feel of that, and then I combine it with my flair for the ancients, I call it, you know, the Mayans, the Aztecs, Pueblo, Egyptians. The water features look a lot like the Pueblo cliff dwellings. So I pull all that kind of, I kind of vision the ancients' lifestyle and how it was back then, because it's something we really don't know. We can only kind of guess and
Right.
say, what was their lifestyle? So I have a lifestyle of a lot of peace and dancing around fires. And the female Cocapelli, she's got a little martini glass in her hand. And, you know, then the male Cocapelli, of course, he's playing his flute to attract the female. So I give it that kind of theme. Yeah, so a lot of the ancients for me. And then I take, you know, I can't wait to get to the Aztecs and the Mayans and do some more real creative shapes, um, and get that same blend I have with the kind of Pueblo style that I have going now. So,
Yeah, you seem to really like the fluid, like movements, more than like geometric.
um,
Or do you like the
yeah,
geometrics too? Because there's so much with sacred geometry to play with,
oh
right?
yes, I
Yeah.
actually did one of my writings was on how every single piece I have does follow the principles of geometry, where all
Nice.
tangents meet tangents. Um, every arc I have is a section of an ellipse, which is a circle rotated in an angle. And so I take the arcs from that. That way, there's kind of an explosion of shapes. Because proper geometry can look rigid, I guess you'd say. When you see a lot of proper geometry, it's really rigid. But I think when you combine them all using proper geometry and the tangents meet tangents, there's a flow to it when you kind of look around the piece. It moves with you. So I think with the Mayans and how they have a lot more square shapes in their pyramids and the step pyramids, it's going to be a real challenge to take all that geometry and get the same flow that we have through all the rounds. But I'm going to do it. Mark my words. I'm going to do it.
You'll achieve it, right?
I'll
I'm
get it.
sure.
Nice.
Wonderful. Well, you know, you've shown a lot of great things here, and it gives a lot to think about how you're living kind of in peace with nature there, and doing your thing, molding and building. And you have all these plants in the house. I think that's something people forget sometimes about how important having living plants in a house is too. You know, we kind of have gone away from that. I know my mother always had plants all over inside, and they were helping to clean the air, and they were living, growing things that were, you know, in our environment. Now it's plastic or silk, or we just don't want to take care of those plants inside the house anymore. So
My grandma
Yeah.
used to have tables of violets because my grandpa smoked a pipe, and she wanted like the clean air. She literally had, those long tables, like four of those long tables of violets, just in the living room, in the family room. Amazing. And she's still, my grandfather's deceased now, but she still has hundreds of inside plants. And it does make such a difference. And her skin is amazing. So maybe that really,
yeah,
Oh, yeah. I think it's one of those trends that it might start coming around a lot more. Is more and more people wanting the trees and the plants in the house because of how much is getting cut down and awareness of what it actually does for your skin, kind of like healthy eating and healthy living is. I think that's a trend where we're going to start seeing a lot more plants and trees and things in people's homes.
and plant trees. I tell all my friends that have yards, plant trees. The United States is 90% deforested from 200 years ago. 90%.
Wow.
That's the plants and trees. I mean, if you think
Yeah.
to the hydrological system, like water travels through the roots of the trees, the groundwater. It's like to think about how much the water has changed by eliminating all those roots is pretty profound too.
Yeah, we
That's
wonder
scary.
why we have all the problems we do. It's, we brought a lot of this on ourselves, just how we have changed our environment.
Yes, that's so true. Yes. Yeah. And bees, right? I'm sure that you too. It's like planting flowers that attract bees is a really wonderful thing that we can contribute.
Yeah, get the bees.
You got it.
Without the bees, we're all screwed.
Oh, we are done.
Isn't that so interesting? How tied we are to like this little guy, and hummingbirds, and I mean, I guess butterflies and hummingbirds also pollinate a little too, but it's like mostly the bees. But amazing that like if they go, the humans will go.
Yeah, I don't think enough people realize that. I mean, I didn't know it till a few years ago how serious it was. And I went to a seminar, and there was a talk on the bees there, and really how harmless to us bees are. I mean, we think of them, we've grouped them all in that category with yellow jackets and wasps or things, but bees are, we need the bees. It was funny, the guy was talking about he found a hive he had to move, and he got them in a cardboard box, like those Staples boxes, and he had them in his car in there, and he was moving them, and they were getting out. He said he pulled alongside of people, and they're looking at his car, just turning because his car is full of bees just flying around. The windows are rolled up.
He's like, no, they're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like me.
Oh,
I've never seen so many dead bees. Like, I see so many dead bees along sidewalks in my back driveway. Sometimes I'll see like 4 dead bees like on the way to my car, where I'm like, what? And never as a child, never before have I just seen just dead bees on the sidewalk. And it's interesting. It's like they're eating the pesticides or they're getting that, and then they're literally just dropping dead mid-flight.
Yeah, I think that's a huge killer of them, isn't it? Is the all the pesticides?
Oh, absolutely. That's the biggest.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And I thought I read something too about in China they were actually having to hand pollinate their crops.
Oh my God. That's so crazy. Another reason to eat organic, friends, not only for your health, but it's like, it's for the bees, baby.
Yeah.
And I think if more people, again, started eating organic and started realizing the importance of it, prices will come down, more people will be growing it, and these lobbyists that are just sucking the life out of us in Washington, promoting GMOs and working for Monsanto and Dow and these, actually evil corporations when you stop and think about it. It's terrible. And then which one is it owns most of the seed companies? Is it Monsanto too?
I think it's Monsanto, yes.
Yeah. Owns most of the seed companies in the country too. So, they get you by, they really got us in a bad place. And we need to do something about it as a country. And our politicians are just not interested. They're sitting on their hands. They're listening to lobbyists in Washington. And this thing with lobbyists, I don't know when we started that or how. I was watching the bill to pass the budget or to approve it so we have a budget, and then they're tying all these other bills into it that make no sense at all. No reason to even been there, so they can approve the budget so the government doesn't shut down again. It's crazy. It
is crazy. It's almost like they just make it too confusing and it doesn't make sense and there's no logic that the people are just like, screw it, It's like the people have all the power. That's what's really exciting. It's like really igniting the people, which is, sure why you're doing what you're doing, Chef Dennis. It's like just bringing awareness to people that they have all the power. If everyone in the United States said, I'm not eating GMO, Monsanto's done. They're done. If they just bother to learn what the crops are and how to avoid the ingredients, because we don't have labeling. So the excuse is, well, there's no label. How am I supposed to know? But there's 8 GMO crops. You learn what they are, and you don't buy any ingredients that have those, or don't buy any foods that have those crops as their ingredients, because they're probably GMO. So it's like really inspiring people to do that is what we have to do. Because, it's like we said, it's, buying organic it's contributing to saving the human race, because not paying attention to what you're buying is, with the pesticides and the GMOs and what's happening to the bees. If the bees go, like we said, there is literally going to be the demise of the human race. It's literally that dramatic. Yeah. That's like true. And it seems so crazy dramatic, but that's what's true.
Yes. You better stop working on drones and start working on bees instead.
Yeah, seriously. And the thing is it's so dramatic and so big, but the solution is so simple. The solution is literally people just reading the ingredients and choosing to buy organic and choosing not to buy products that have those 8 GMO crops in them.
There's a new company out. I don't know. Did you see the Thrive Market? Leah has been doing stuff with Thrive Market. Thrive Market is actually, it's a Sam's or Amazon meets Sam's meets Tom's kind of organization, and it's a place to buy your organic products, your non-GMO products, your health and beauty things, foods, all of it at less prices than you would pay through the groceries or buying them out in the world. You save like 20-30%. Shipping is free after $50, but you buy a membership. It's a membership card, just like you go in a big box club. And then they, in turn, give a membership to a family in need for free. They work with the boys and girls clubs and some other things to find a family that can benefit. So, no, I can't afford organics. Well, yeah, you can if you buy them at this discounted rate. Because now we're bringing the price down where it's lower. Now, they don't do fresh produce, but it's all other products.
And in a lot of places, fresh produce they can grow, or they can go to the farmer's market. It's like I always tell people, organic is the cheapest because just grow it in a little pot. Like you don't even have to have a yard. You can have a grow box on your patio or whatever. And it's not going to feed you completely, but at least you can grow your tomatoes and your bell peppers. And
you'll end up saving quite a bit. There's one, I'm trying to think of the name of the company I saw, and it was a growing system to put on your porch. And you can grow actually greens like lettuces and things, and the amount of money that you save after the initial input of the thing, it's going to pay for itself pretty much in the first year, and then you're going back to, it's not something sprayed with pesticides.
Yeah, and it's fresher and it tastes better because things always taste better when they're like freshly picked. It's pretty different taste.
It's amazing to taste a nice fresh tomato that we picked off one of our plants. I mean, oh my God, this is what a tomato tastes like.
Right.
I think we've
It's
lost
not just color, right? It actually has.
It's not color.
Yeah.
It's not wax.
It's not red cardboard. No, it's a tomato.
Right.
Well, that's what got me switching originally to organic chicken. Was I'm eating chicken one day and going, this chicken doesn't taste like chicken. And when chicken doesn't taste like chicken, you got a problem. So, I started buying, even before I had thought of anything free range or organic, it was, well, let me try free range chicken, organic chicken. And that tasted like chicken that I remembered growing up. And then I bought organic milk, and that tasted really like milk. So there was a few things that I didn't buy them for any other reason other than they tasted much better. So that was the reason for me buying them. And then as I learned more about the importance, well, then it even makes more sense and to buy more products. Now I'm on to pastured meats. That's my new thing. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And next year we'll get into raw milks because the raw dairy is like infinitely more delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. Much different tasting.
Steps. Baby steps.
Like the organic taste so much different, and then you take a step up to raw, and that's so much different. And same thing with eggs. Like we get farm eggs out where we live, and the kids won't eat store eggs. They just refuse to eat the store eggs. They'll only eat the farm eggs.
Nice.
And
when you look at them side by side, you crack them open, the other one looks pathetic. It's
right. The color's so different.
Pea yellow for the old ones
like
at the store.
Orange.
And they're like bright orange. I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful.
Oh, I can't wait to get some chickens. It'll be fun
to have
The place I found for pastured meats has eggs too, and the lady had said, come back on Saturday because then you can go out into the areas and you can pick your own. I'm like, oh my God, really?
That's fantastic. And then they're really nutritious. People have these things about animal foods not being nutritious, and it's only because what we've done to the animal foods that have made them so junky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
real animal foods that people were eating hundreds of years ago do benefit the body.
Now, you did say you use it's a plant-based diet, so are you vegetarian? I meant to ask you that.
Mostly. I teach people plant-based stuff because I think that's what most people need to like learn. Like we all need to get more plants in our diet. So that's where my interest is. But I ebb and flow. You know, it's like my natural tendency is to eat a plant-based diet. But being pregnant, I'm 6 months pregnant now, and I've wanted a little meat here and there. Because I have to eat so little, and then you get hungry often. I feel like if I made grass-fed, and this is gonna be crazy for any of my like raw food vegan fans out there. They're gonna be like, Blythe did what? But I made some grass-fed organic beef jerky in my dehydrator a couple weeks ago, and I found that it's like if I just eat, because it's been really hard for me to eat. I've had like really bad morning sickness, and I still have it at 6 months. And if I just eat a little bit of that beef jerky, it actually satisfies me, where I don't feel like I'm like super hungry then like 30 minutes later or whatever. So there's times when I'm going, okay, I'm just reading what my body really needs right now, and I'll just give it that. I consider myself a nutritiarian. It's like I eat for nutrition. Whatever I need in the moment, in the season, and the time is what I do.
Well, I think the biggest problem with meats was that as a country, we just ate way too much protein.
Totally.
You know, we go and we're just brainwashed. The meat should cover the plate. I mean, I was serving a 24-ounce porterhouse at one of the restaurants I was at, and that's insane.
No one needs that.
You serve them because you can get them. I mean, people to eat that much meat, it's a killer. But you know, we got to go back to the thing where the meat is almost the smallest portion on the plate.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. The rest is the vegetables.
The vegetables are the key. If that's the most of your diet is the vegetables and fresh herbs, you'll be golden. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meat proportions.
What?
Meat proportions at our meals have shrunk drastically, and then the rest of the plate is all our vegetables and yummies and our sauces we make, and so yeah. I know.
Yeah,
it used to be the opposite. What was that?
No, I was going to say, and honestly, that's what brings the cost down, because meat is expensive. I mean, and so if you're saying you can't afford organic vegetables, well, if you're cutting down on your meat, you can afford organic vegetables.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah, because meat prices have skyrocketed.
Yeah. And you know what, really, once you learn what's in conventional meat, I mean, you really can't eat that. You know, it's almost like if you know.
It just made me cringe.
Yeah, it's like steroids, hormones, antibiotics. I mean, the largest buyers of antibiotics is the livestock industry. I mean, you know, it's like you don't want to eat that. So you have to buy organic. You know, once you know, you have to. And then it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to buy meat maybe a couple times a week, or have it a couple times a week. I mean, for people that eat meat every day, it's like, yeah, you know, sometimes you don't have to eat meat every day. And you don't have to eat as much of it every day. I think new habits. I think we eat so habitually. We eat sort of how we were taught to eat. And then sometimes you just have to go, you learn new staple dishes. You know, learn new quick and easy staple dishes, and then it's easy.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a fun and informative show, but we're coming to the close now. So we're going to wrap it up a little bit. I'm going to go to each of you and ask you to share anything you'd like with us at this point. If you have any shows coming up, if you have anything you'd like us to know about, what you're doing, now's the time to share it. So let's go back to Blythe and let you share. Where can we find you? And
sure, you guys can find me at BlytheNaturalLiving.com, or I'd love you to check out Healthy Recipes in 5, in the number 5.com, HealthyRecipesIn5.com. I have a 4-DVD course. I have it here actually to show you. I have this DVD course. This is really fun. It's full of 5-minute recipes. It's 4 DVDs. There's a breakfast DVD, a lunch dinner DVD, a dessert snack DVD, and then a therapeutic home spa DVD. And each recipe is between 5 and 10 minutes long in real time, so you can make it right along with me. It's gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. It's such a great course if you're like, I don't know how to eat healthy. You definitely don't have to be vegetarian. You don't have to be vegan. All of this stuff happens to be vegan. vegetarian. It's all plant-based, but it's like just get more plants in your life, and it's delicious. There's such good stuff like tomato basil hemp soup. Raw veggie sushi roll, mango vanilla hemp granola. There's just some really delicious things. I teach you how to make raw chocolates on here, which is great. And then the therapeutic home spa DVD is really fun. Bath teas and spirulina masks and hair masks and honey masks and literally these amazing beautifying things that cost like 2 cents, and then like you already have the stuff in your cabinet. So it's fun. So check out healthyrecipiesin5.com.
Very cool. Thank you. And you can leave those links in the comment section too if you like later.
Okay, cool.
And Brett, what do you got coming up for us? Anything interesting or fun, or where can we find you?
Well, you can find me at hammies.net, and then you can also find me on Google Plus at Brett Hamilton. And all my information to email me or contact me is there. The only thing that I have coming, I don't have any shows planned right now coming up. Just getting my work into art galleries is the next step for me. And then I'll be updating my website here in the next few weeks with the same submittals I have to those, so people can hop on there and see all my latest work. And yeah, that's what I have going on. And I just loved what you guys all had to say today.
Very good.
Blythe, I love what you're doing, and the food, and eating natural and what is it, Monsanto or whatever their name is, and corporate, and all the packaged goods. Get rid of those things and start canning and all those good old school things that have kind of been lost. And
yeah,
love the show. Love what you're doing.
Thank you. I love what you're doing too. You do amazingly beautiful work. Keep us posted on your gallery submissions.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I'll definitely be using my Google Plus to update everybody and
awesome.
Keep those going. I'm going to throw in some videos coming up too. So.
Dude, we want to see your workshop. We want to see it in action. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I know everybody would be interested in seeing you in action. Just have to get somebody to film it for you or set it up.
I'll have somebody film it for me, and then the only way I can work in my shop and do good work is if my hair is really just messed up. If I have my hair combed like this, I'm horrible. It just doesn't work. So everybody's going to be in for a surprise. It has to stick up. I mean, it's just.
I love it.
Crazy hair is the only way I can work.
Nice.
Sounds like fun. I will be looking forward to that one.
For sure.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for stopping by for Good Day Google Plus today. It's been a great day on Google Plus. Enjoy your weekend, and holidays are coming up. We are not going to have a holiday show next Friday. I'm going to give everybody a day off and enjoy time with your friends and your families and get out and really get into the spirit. So thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you all real soon. Bye-bye.